I mean, obviously I've spoiled everything and that's fine. We're processing together. Don't watch this video if you haven't seen the movie yet. It will A, not make a lot of sense to you. B, kind of spoil stuff. Spoil stuff that is specific to the movie and not necessarily specific to the overall story. So visual storytelling is arguably the most compelling storytelling we have today. Visual storytelling in movies, TV shows, YouTube, and the rest is so powerful to us as a culture. I think the epitome of that currently is in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, which I just saw yesterday. There's so much to talk about with this movie. There's so much there. It's a deep dive into just how Christopher Nolan tells stories. There's also a very interesting deep dive into like where we are as a culture and the certain elements he chose to pull out and highlight and how that is more impactful for a person today versus other iterations and interpretations of the text that are more impactful in other venues and in other perspectives. For example, the concept album Epic is also an adaptation of The Odyssey, and it leans more into the gods and monsters of the story, whereas Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey does not. It leans pretty well away from the gods and monsters and focuses more on the humans. Now, it's not as fantastical as Epic. That's because it's partially how he tells stories, but also how movies are told nowadays. We like a gritty story right now. That's just the vibe we're in. What I want to talk about specifically is something that I have been noticing in movies for a long time, and that is how colors tell the story. Because movies are a visual medium, the way something looks conveys so much storytelling. It tells of a person's intentions. It tells of a place so much up without any actions, without any dialogue, just the look of a thing. The colors in this story are doing so much of the legwork of storytelling. As I've been percolating on the Odyssey that we watched yesterday, that my husband and I went on a date to go see. It was very romantic, which surprisingly romantic movie. Maybe not surprisingly, because like a marriage is at the center. Anyways, there's a lot of story being told through colors and the visuals, yes, but specifically the colors. I want to walk through those colors real quick. It's not very many colors because this is a Christopher Nolan movie and he's not going to be bringing like this like rainbow or this, kaleidoscope of colors and patterns of, whoa, that's not his vibe. And that's fine. Like he's very simple, not simple in a bad way, but he's very streamlined, very simple and specific. Most of his movie soundtracks are also very simple and specific. Odysseus' theme has 3 notes. That's it. So like an Interstellar, I think has 2. It's like the main theme is those 2 notes. So he's very pared down, very simple. Because there's so much depth being told, he's not getting complicated in other ways. Anyways, so the colors are very simple as well and very straightforward. It's so good. Okay, so let's walk through it. So the colors that are used to tell specifically about characters and kind of where they stand morally. Kind of. We have the colors black, white, gray, blue, red, gold, silver, and brown. I think the maximum number of colors a character wears is 3. For our main cast, which still is like, 14 people? It's a lot. For our main cast, most people wear 1 color, maybe 2. Only one person wears 3. 2 people. Only 2 people wear 3, and that's Penelope and Telemachus. And Telemachus only wears 3 colors at the end, at the very end. Penelope has one scene where she wears 3 colors. In the scene where she presents the bow test to the suitors, she is wearing a blue dress with a red sash and gold earrings. all of these colors, these 8 colors that I covered, all have symbolism in them. And that's part of what is telling the story. All colors have symbolism to them. That's just how we are as a human species. We assign symbol and meaning to colors. So in this story, we're using that to partially tell the story. I need some coffee. This is excellent. Okay. So let's walk through the most obvious because it was on the trailer. And all the posters. And we're starting strong with, where's my dude? We're starting strong with Agamemnon. I literally showed this picture to my 10-year-old and he went, that's a bad guy. Black is bad guy vibes. And just the structure of the helmet, he's so imposing. So he gets the benefit of not just the colors, but also just the structure and style of his outfit really conveying bad guy vibes. It just does. Agamemnon is also wearing gold. In the accents on the armor itself, there's some wear patterns on the armor where the black apparently is a veneer on the outside and underneath is gold, which this guy is gaudy to the max, dude. Wow. And we have the gold of the spine pieces. That's a choice. And then we also have gold lions on the front. So all very royal, very intimidating. He's not just kingly. He is strong. He is very physical, not quite warrior, but we've got definitely military leader vibes. He is, Odysseus describes him as his king. So even though Odysseus is a king, Agamemnon is his king, but he's like the king over all the little kingdoms. So it makes sense that he's got the gaudiness, he's got the gold, he's big and imposing, he is leading, but he's not doing much of the fighting. He's leading by presence, at least in the movie. So that's the most obvious, is the black with Agamemnon. But black is worn by other characters. All of the soldiers wear black or brown. Okay? All of them. All of the Greek ones, anyways, Mycenaean Greeks. They all wear black or brown. And the movie definitely sets up the Greeks in the Trojan War as being the villains. Agamemnon's soldiers only wear black. They're pretty much only ever seen their tuft thingy is black, also just like his. Whereas Odysseus's men, their helmets have red. So they have a little bit different color scheme. But still dark, definitely black, maybe a little leaning towards brown. The scene of them in the horse, when they're all on the horse and coming out of the horse and sneaking around, they're wearing black. They're sneaking around. They're wrong. And we're conveying that through color of them being the villains. The opposite of that is the Trojans are all in white. The soldiers are all in white. In the very first scene when they ride up, they're on white horses. Everything is white. All of the citizens are wearing white. They are innocent. There's a couple of the characters who wear black. So we have just the pure black of Agamemnon and his men. Agamemnon having the gold of a king. So that's a theme, is the gold pointing towards royalty, pointing towards leadership and kingship. So Agamemnon wears gold. Now, others who wear black. Let's go to Odysseus and his men. They are also wearing black and red. There's also quite a bit of brown mixed in. And I've noticed, so the pattern with the brown is that's a little bit lower class. Odysseus has the most black of his men, but not as much black as Agamemnon. His armor is black, but underneath is a layer of brown. He doesn't have full black like Agamemnon and his men. The men of Ithaca are kind of a mix of brown underneath, or sometimes tan or gray with a layer of black on top. And there's a lot of browns and blacks mixed together. So it's showing just these are average dudes who are fighting. I think as opposed to like Agamemnon's men, when we see them, they are very they're almost like stormtroopers. They're very faceless goons, but like soldier, like very stiff. Whereas the men of Ithaca are a little bit more scrappy. They're a little bit more just kind of Band of Brothers vibes almost. Now, an additional color working with the Ithaca soldiers is red. Now, there's two characters who wear red. Red seems to indicate somebody who is engaged with a fight, has something to fight for or against. All of the men of Ithaca have red on their helmets. As the story goes on, as the movie goes on, they lose their helmets for one reason or another. And the coloring on top gets worn off and gets duller and duller and duller until it isn't really red anymore. That's very telling because as their journey goes on, they are not warriors anymore. They're just men and they're just struggling to survive. And for Odysseus himself, he progressively wears less and less of his armor, particularly after Circe. So on Circe's island is about the last time he is in full armor. He may have like bits and pieces of it, but he really is stepping away from the warrior. That's kind of a turn for him. It's one of his turns as a character, away from the warrior mentality, back to thinking like a human again, thinking like a man. So the other two characters who wear red, very interestingly, one I already brought up was Penelope. And Penelope wears red, I think, because she is fighting for, honestly, she's fighting for her son. She's fighting for her life. She's fighting for Odysseus. And she will do anything to keep that going and keep that alive. Another important color that Penelope wears, to segue into this, is blue. Penelope wears blue really in scenes where she's most queenly, most royal. Blue is very much a royal color, which is very interesting because only our Ithaca trio wear blue: Odysseus, Penelope, and Telemachus. The other character who wears red besides Penelope and the Ithaca men is Menelaus. Menelaus wears black and red. He has the gaudy black and gold vibe that his brother had. He also, in addition to the black and gold royalty bad guy vibe, he also wears red, the red of a warrior, the red of a warrior who sheds blood. I think also very telling is Helen wears gold. That's it. She wears only gold. We only ever see her in gold gowns, gold plated. She is only in gold. She is defined by being a queen. That's it. That's the only. It's definitely. I believe she does wear white in one scene, just like the Trojans wore white. Helen wears white. So gold royalty. Helen wears that. Menelaus wears it, and Penelope. All the royals wear it. Very interesting. And Helen definitely wears the most gold, most gaudy. I gotta say, those guys over in Sparta, they got a thing for gold over there. They're very gaudy, which is fascinating because Spartans weren't really known for being gaudy. So we've been talking about black as kind of what the bad guys wear, but it's more than that. It's not just like black is evil. That's part of it. I think it's more accurate to say black is the color of wrong desires. You could say sin, possibly, but wrong desires, or injustice, unfulfilled longings, like that kind of idea, which is, I think, most highlighted in the Underworld scene. Everyone in the Underworld is black. Everyone is wearing black, and the what are they called? The shades. That's what they're called. The shades that rise up out of the ground are then covered in black, and even the red sacrificial blood that allows the shades to speak, it looks black. Even the red of blood, and of which we've already talked about red, it's very important, it looks black. The priest, he's all in black. The blind priest, priest, who gives him the vision of what's going to happen next. He's all in black. Sinon is black. He's colored all black. He's covered in black. But Sinon in the flashback as a child, which just like, Lord help us, in the lottery is wearing white. He's wearing white. Antinous, which is Rob Pattinson's character, young Antinous is also in mostly white. He's got patterns on him, and the patterned material is darker than the white. So he's already tainted. He's already, as a teenager, as a child, he is tainted, and he's making the wrong choices and being a baddie, generally speaking. We'll come back to him in a little bit, okay? Let's move on to gray. Gray is fascinating. Fascinating that it exists. Characters who wear gray. Actually, we have a character who doesn't wear gray. He just is gray. So first, gray, I would argue, Mentor. Mentor wears red and gray. He is a warrior. He is the one who's training Telemachus to fight. He goes with him. He's kind of his guard a little bit, his protector, but also his trainer. But he wears gray. We aren't given much like background about Mentor, other than obviously he's an old warrior. He's got some history, which I think because of that history and that he's bringing experience, and that experience isn't pure. It isn't always positive, even though it can change you positively. Does that make sense? Like, even though you can have a negative experience, you can become a better person because of it. And I think that's the case with Mentor. It has made him into a good man, but he has darkness in his past and in him, so he doesn't wear white. That I think is so interesting. Like, we don't even get that much about him, but we know he's complicated. He's a little complicated, which is fascinating. I really like that about him. Gray. Characters who are gray. I think it's very interesting that Telemachus begins the movie in gray. There's a scene when he goes out on the balcony with his mom, and she's talking to him, and we get a good look at her in her full blue dress and her blue and gold. This is the one where she's wearing the blue without the red belt. So she's just in full queen mode. And Telemachus is next to her, and we get to see his whole outfit, and he's wearing a gray shirt. And he also is brown, so like lower, and he has no gold on. Telemachus does not wear gold or any shiny metal until the very end, because he's not king. He's not of age. He has no authority. He has no rulership. She does. So she wears gold. So good. So Telemachus is in gray in the beginning, and then when he goes to Sparta, is wearing blue, and he does, whenever Telemachus wears his black armor, his underlayer is white. Like, it's so good. The storytelling with Telemachus's outfits are so good. It's so, like, he's so beautifully complicated and just a mixture of everybody else. He isn't quite his own person yet. He doesn't have his own set of colors. He's everybody else's colors. It's fascinating. All right, gray characters, Telemachus and Ithaca's soldiers. A lot of their undergarb is either brown or gray. I also thought it interesting, a lot of the soldiers, as the story moves on, some of them get more gray in their beard and stuff, but they don't go full white quite the way Odysseus does, mostly because they die. But the other person that wears grayish, it's a dark gray, is Circe. I think in the scene where she steps out of her house and you see her in the full light, you can see the black of her outfit is a lighter tone. It's definitely more gray. The whole area around it's very gray. It's very cloudy. The inside of her house, it's very tinged that dingy gray color. It's just fascinating. That's fascinating, and it stands out because it's not as deep dark black as the crow is. So it does stand out. It's very interesting. There's also in her house there's a lot of silver accents, silver twinges, accents and highlights. And even if that's just the lighting, silver is playing a part here. The other place where silver shows up is with the giants. The giants have the full, clad silver armor. Even the child does. And the child is that would also fascinating. The child is in white and silver. So the child, innocence, and silver. Also, I think young Telemachus as a child wears white and blue. The other character that is gray, doesn't wear gray, is the Cyclops. The Cyclops skin is gray. I know it's difficult to see because we're in a cave that's mostly orange with the firelight, but the Cyclops skin is gray. He's a morally gray character. And that's fascinating. Like all of the characters who have gray, they haven't landed. So that's very interesting. The gray is honestly the characters who are in the middle. They're in the middle on how they stand with the gods in the whole Zeus's law thing. It's also, I think it's mainly that, but it's also where they stand as far as guilt goes. Circe is a little bit more guilty and she feels it a bit more, whereas like the Cyclops, he's a much lighter gray. He's a lot less guilty. He hasn't really done anything overtly wrong, and I love how the movie portrays him as basically a child. He is a child, and Odysseus' line about, would you talk to ants? They both are wrong, but they're wrong in the same way. The men are wrong because they assumed this is a monster who can't talk, and the Cyclops is wrong because he assumed these are teeny tiny bugs who also can't talk. Like they both assumed wrong of each other and therefore hurt each other. Or murdered each other, whatever. Our final color is white. We touched on white a little bit, but white is worn by Troy, all the citizens of Troy and all the soldiers of Troy. And it's very much showing that they are innocent in the whole debacle. It doesn't go into it. The Odyssey is only dealing with the sack of Troy. It's not dealing with the whole Trojan War and why it started and all of those things. It's dealing with just the horse, just that night. The people are in white, the citizens. We have the white statue of Aphrodite that gets beheaded. We have and which is fascinating because we have the statue of Aphrodite that gets beheaded next to the dark outline of the horse. Beautiful. Just that wraps it up so well. And then we also have the contrast of Circe's island is all white. We've got white sandy beaches. We've got bright, super bright sunshine. And Circe is in white. Odysseus, when he's on Circe's island, is in white. And from the time Odysseus is on Circe's island, he wears white for the rest of the movie, except for the very, very, very end. Because when he's on her island, he processes all of his trauma, processes all of his guilt, and as she puts it, she heals his mind, heals his body, and then heals his mind. And he knows what he has to do to make things right. And that's really his whole thing is I can't go home because I don't know how to make this right. I am so guilty. I've messed up so bad. I don't know how to make this right. And he figures it out and wears white because now he is pure. He is washed clean, you could say. The other two characters who have white on their person are our faithful servants, the faithful servants of Odysseus. Emmaus, the lady whose name I can't remember. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to say that. Euryclea? We'll go with that. Both Emmaus and Euryclea are faithful older servants in the household of Penelope and Odysseus. And they knew him as a boy, knew him as a child, saw him grow, saw him leave, have been helping raise Telemachus because he knows he can trust Euryclea and Emmaus. And Emmaus really helped raise him. The other character who has white and is a faithful companion is Argus. And obviously, just yes. Although I love also that Argus does play into this color theory of the white. He was also red as a pup. And the red slowly turned to white as he was kind of like purified almost by age and waiting and the loyalty of waiting. And we love that dog. All right, so our last color we really need to specify and talk about is blue. So we talked a little bit about it already. Penelope wears it she wears it a couple different times, and it seems to be indicating true noble royalty. Odysseus wears blue once. He wears it at the very end when he gets on the boat with Penelope, who's wearing red again, which is also like just the combining of the two of the red and the blue together. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot a character. I gotta go back to it. It'll be fine. And they're going into the West to go honor the dead and do the right thing. And take the punishment of banishment so that Telemachus can be king and move on for the whole country. That's so good. And then Telemachus, as he was in the beginning, where he is kind of the mixture of everybody else around him in his coloring, particularly with the gray and the brown and the black, he's just kind of a mixture of everybody. At the end, he is the best of everybody. He has the silver, which silver really only shows up. It only shows up in the characters that are most tied to the mythical or the magical, you could say, which would be tied to the gods. So Telemachus has the silver breastplate at the end. He also has some blue and white. Love that. And then he's got gold, his gold circlet as a king, because he's finally wearing gold. He's finally royalty. Clytemnestra orchestrates the murder of her husband, who is our very imposing Agamemnon. Clytemnestra is an interesting character because she wears the gold. She's got gold accents because she's queen. And then Clytemnestra also wears purple. I don't think anyone else wears purple. In the scene where her daughter is sacrificed, she's wearing purple, which is fascinating because, as pretty much everybody knows, purple is a combination of red and blue. You see how our colors are coming together? Red and blue. So she wears purple in the scene with the daughter. And then in the murder scene, she is wearing blue, as we've established, is the color of the right and just good royalty. And as opposed to Menelaus in his red, his red and black, she's wearing gold and blue. It's so beautiful. The only character we haven't touched, who's kind of at first is an anomaly to all of this color theory I've got going on, and that is Antinous, Robert Pattinson. He is wearing brown. He also has a lot of gold on him. So he's not wearing our tried and true black or white. A lot of the suitors are not wearing specifically white or lighter colors. Most of them are in brown. It's a lot of brown going on in that room, especially with the firelight. Everything looks that like yellowish brown color. But Antinous is wearing mostly brown. Now, the pattern that I picked up on with brown is that tends to be worn by somebody of a little bit lower class. So we've got Agamemnon, who's the top dog, in full black, and all of his men, full black. The men of Ithaca, soldiers of Ithaca, are in black and brown. And then as we work our way down, we've got more brown and tans in kind of the lower classes. Emmaus, for example, even though he is classified as one of our characters in white because of the white hair, but he actually starts brown. He's wearing a brown suit of his, the swineherd. He's wearing the brown, still a lighter brown than the really dark leather, because most of Antinous's garb is leather. It almost looks like he's got armor on, but it's leather armor. He doesn't have the metal armor of like the soldiers who actually went to war. He also has gold. Antinous is wearing it on purpose. Like, he chose it. He put it on himself, even though he's not royalty. And I love the costuming of Robert Pattinson. It's just so gaudy and so gross. I love that the more gaudy and decadent a character's costume is, the worse they are. The more entrenched in gross and terrible things they are in, whether it's their fault or not. They're just entrenched in it and can't get out to a great extent. Unfortunately, for like Helen of Troy, for example, she isn't Helen of Troy. She's just Helen. But like Helen has very gaudy clothes and very over the top and very like uber royalty clothes on with all the gold she wears, because she's entrenched in a world and a way of life and in a mess that she can't get out of. And it's not her fault. And Menelaus is entrenched in this gaudy over the top world of his own making, and he does not want to get out of it. Same with his brother. And Antinous is the same way. He is entrenched in this clamber to the top, and he doesn't want to get out of it. Oh, it's so good. So much storytelling through costuming. Oh, so good. Did I miss anything? Did I get everybody? Oh gosh. If I missed somebody, I'm so sorry. Where are we going with all this? Visual media tells stories not just through actions and dialogue, but through colors, through scenery, through symbols. So much symbolism is conveyed in colors alone. That is something that really stuck out to me in watching the Odyssey. And the more I think about it and the more I reflect on the movie, it's really the colors and the visual of that has really stood out to me just so much. Thank you for listening to my little detailed deep dive about colors in movies. So, till next time, bye-bye. Isn't anyone else interested in this? No, it's just me.